do have two of us here on Council Rock, for those unaware. We do have a quorum, so we can proceed. However, given tonight's presentation, we're going to suspend the agenda in lieu of our special guests. I'd like to welcome Deputy Chief Will Betancourt, Area 5 Deputy Chief, and 14th District Commander Belinda Linus to my left over here. We do have some pre-submitted questions that we're going to go through. We're going to do it on.
Can you speak up?
We just suspended the agenda. After the presentation. All right, so that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into our submitted Q&As. We have quite a bit of them, and brevity is going to be key here, as we only have our guests here for a limited amount of time. So, Council Vargas, would you like to read any of these?
Can't hear you. You gotta read it.
Okay, question number one. Over the past year, how many investigatory traffic stops have been conducted in the 14th District over the past year? Can you provide a racial breakdown of those stops, reasons for stops, and outcomes?
So as I said several times, this topic is a point of litigation right now, so I'm not at liberty to discuss it in a public forum. Not only that, but as the district counselors probably are aware, that the CCPSA and the CPD are currently having conversations working toward discussing a new traffic stop policy, so I cannot discuss that publicly for those reasons as well. So any questions or input that the community that you would like to have towards traffic stops, filter them to your district counselors, and then they can filter them through the CCPSA, and then that would be discussed then with the CPD, the ongoing discussion. I also want to point out that the Inspector General maintains a dashboard which contains some of the requested information. So you can go to the Inspector General's website and go to their dashboards there. So that address is IG Chicago, so igchicago.org. And I will give all this information to the counselors as well, so they'll have it in print that they could share with you.
Okay, question number two. Over the past year, how many DUI saturation patrols have been conducted in the 14th District? How many individuals have been stopped during these patrols, and how many have been arrested as a result of these? And what is the racial breakdown of those stops?
So as far as DUI missions, those are performed by a different unit, not the 14th District. So that's through our traffic section. So I don't maintain their records, but I do know year to date for this year, on the 7th of February, there was a DUI mission in the 14th District. Again, to the numbers and regarding how many stops and the breakdown of those stops, I cannot speak about that for those previous reasons that I stated.
Question number three. Can you provide an update on the officers in the 14th District with known ties to extremist organizations such as Oath Keepers? And it goes on to ask, why is Sergeant Lewacki retiring rather than being removed?
So regarding this question, I'm going to give the counselors a copy of our general order, which is all available to the public. It's on the public website. This order is General Order 08-03. It's prohibitions on criminal and biased organizations. So this is the order that the department policy that provides guidelines relative to prohibiting department members from active participation or membership in or affiliation with criminal or biased organizations. This was also included as one of the 2025 superintendent's goals with the CCPSA. Again, these directives, they're implemented citywide, so the entire department follows these directives. And again, they are public facing, so you can get these. Again, I will give the counselors a copy of them. And then Beyond that, we do not discuss matters, personal, individual matters in a public forum. So I cannot address the following part of that question.
Okay. Question number 4. What concrete steps is the 14th District taking to prevent officers with ties to white supremacists or extremist groups from service in the district?
So again, I'm going to refer to this order, the same order, prohibitions on criminal and biased organizations. But one thing I think it's important to know is that within the department, different ranks are covered by different unions, different collective bargaining agreements. So to put it simply, I can't choose who works in the 14th District and who doesn't. It falls under the rules of their collective bargaining agreement. So you can ask to go to a different district or bid to that district, and based on seniority and other factors, you may end up there. So again, that's just important, I think, for us all to understand that I don't handpick who I get to work with. And that's across the entire city as well. So the collective bargaining agreements kind of govern that. And again, any allegations relating to any conduct not in line with our policies are subject to a complaint log number and are fully investigated.
Okay, question number 5. What are the average response times for 911 calls in the 14th District, broken down by priority level? How do these response times compare to other districts?
So this is a question I don't have access to answer this stuff. So again, the Office of Inspector General maintains a dashboard which may contain some of this information. There is currently a workforce allocation study taking place, which will include a 911 call analysis. This is something that the counselors can submit a formal request through the CCPSA to the department, and they will provide a written response. One thing about calls for service is that term, it can mean several things. So to me, a call for service is someone calling 911 saying there's a crime or I need police assistance, and it happens to be in the 14th District boundaries. But beyond that, the other calls for service may include something that's on view. So if I'm driving down the street and I see a car accident, I may go on the radio and say, hey, I just observed this car accident. So that would be considered a call for service. So again, the terms, that's why if you provide a written request, those terms can be hashed out, and then you would get the actual information that you want. It'd be broken down properly. So I suggest the council to submit a written request.
Okay, question number 6, and it pertains to calls for service again. How many total calls for service has the 14th District received in the past year? What percentage of these were related to mental health crises, and what is the average response time for those calls?
Yeah, so again, I don't have specific numbers because I don't have access to this, but what I did have access to, kind of playing around with how many calls for service in the 14th District in the last year. But this includes, again, duplicate calls, it includes on-view calls. So I don't know what the accurate number to give you is. In my playing around with this, there was about 38,000 calls that I came up with. Again, I don't know how many of those were called to 911, how many of those were on view. And then as far as that, you can't filter out which had a mental health component to it. So again, that's something that if the counselors through the CCPSA can submit a formal request, CPD will work with the CCPSA to get that broken down and the info given to them.
Okay, next question is, what steps is the 14th District taking to secure a CARES or a Crisis Assistance Response Engagement Unit? And do you believe that the 14th District would need one? So
the CARES units, those were not citywide. The 14th District never had a CARES team. And as of September of 2024, the police and fire were removed from the CARES teams citywide. So the program now falls under the Chicago Department of Public Health. So CDPH, if you go to the City of Chicago website and go to CDPH, There would be more information about the CARES programs, which again, the department does not participate in those anymore.
Okay, and this one's a little bit more topical. What actions has the 14th District taken to address the recent violent sexual assaults? What is the status report, and what is the current status of investigations on reported assaults dating back to 2022?
So clearly, I see familiar faces from the BEAT meeting last week, and clearly this is a primary concern of the district and department right now. As discussed at the BEAT meeting, from the district level, we have increased our patrols, both uniform and covert operations in the area. And we continue to work with the detective division on any leads, any assistance that they may need in gathering video evidence or interviews, things of that nature. As far as the status of investigation, that falls within the Bureau of Detectives, and they are not here to speak specifically to the case. So as of now, as we discussed at that BEAT meeting, the processing of DNA evidence is crucial in cases like this, in getting some assistance in further expediting it. I also reached out to State Rep Evedina Delgado, and she too was looking into what she can do with the state police to further the expediting of that evidence. So right now, again, we continue to work towards solving these crimes, to providing justice to the victims and to the whole community. But again, that's something that the detectives would have to speak to. Reported assaults of domestic violence dating back to 2022. Again, I don't have access to that, but what I do have access to is citywide criminal sexual assaults. In 2023, there were 1,990. In 2024, there were 1,835. So from 2023 to 2024, there was a decrease in about 7.8% of criminal sexual assaults. Again, these are not numbers maintained by the 14th District nor really the Bureau of Patrol. So again, that's something if the district counselors would submit a formal request through the CCPSA, the department would work with getting you a written response. And I do also want to point out that there are procedures in place for submitting these sorts of requests. And it goes through the CCPSA, from there to the CPD, and then we work to provide responses. So I know that the CCPSA and CPD are in the process of putting together a manual and figuring out some of these nuances so that we can make information flow easier. So I'm sure they're just as frustrated as we are, because we're kind of still all learning the process and trying to implement a process that is efficient. So again, these are things that through the counselors, they can go through CCPSA and we can get written responses to you.
Now, I'm going to give you a quick break, Amanda Lennis. Deputy Chief Betancourt, this one I think is directed to you. How are detectives ensuring that survivors of sexual violence are kept informed of case progress? What policies are in place to ensure victims receive timely updates and support?
So right now, I'm the area deputy chief. I don't deal with the detective division. In my opinion only, at least once or twice a week, those victims should be contacted and then informed as to what progress is being done. We also should have a response in regards to maybe some type of services, some kind of counseling, anything that we can do to minimize the trauma. We don't want the victims re-traumatized. That's what we got our detectives doing right now. There are violence liaison detectives that reach out to the families and speak with the victims. As far as policies, those are pretty much it in a nutshell for us. But the detectives, I wish they were here today, would have been a lot better at informing you as to what their policies are.
And yes, to clarify, so he's the Area 5 Deputy Chief. I report to the Area 5 Deputy Chief because I'm the commander of the 14th District, which is one of the districts in Area 5. Now, separate and apart from us is the Area 5 Detective Division, and that's who was at the outdoor roll call and the beat 1422 beat meeting. But now, and here's the thing, I see your frustration. The CCPSA, this whole thing is district level, district commanders with the district council. So it's a whole different entity, and these are the things that this manual that they're working on is going to work out so that everybody here, both you guys and us, can be educated on what our roles and responsibilities are. Because the detectives, they're not necessarily obligated or a part of this. This is district level concerns. So the fact that, when we had the outdoor roll call and the beat meeting, we asked them to attend because it's crucial that they deliver their updates, their responses, but they don't deal with the day-to-day district level operations that I do, and that in turn that the deputy chief does. So again, this is where, Ashley and I know we've talked about this manual that's going to come out will clarify a lot of the rank structure within the Chicago Police Department, and who reports where and what our roles and responsibilities actually are. But if you want, I did reach out to the chief of detectives, who provided me with some information regarding what we do for victims, because as she says, the Chicago Police Department is committed to thoroughly investigating criminal sexual assault cases, as well as supporting the victims who are living with the trauma and the aftermath of these assaults. The CPD participates in several multidisciplinary initiatives, including the Illinois Medical District Sexual Assault Response Team, which strives to respond to every sexual assault survivor in a caring, compassionate, and trauma-informed manner, provide justice for survivors, and prevent assaults from occurring in the future. The Bureau of Detectives DNA Processing Unit, in collaboration with the State Police Forensic Science Lab and Cook County State's Attorney's Office, has advanced efforts throughout the past 2 years to implement a systematic and comprehensive process to review, evaluate, and solve previously unresolved sexual assaults, and expand DNA testing options to increase the potential to identify and apprehend offenders. In 2024, the Bureau of Detectives Criminal Sexual Assault Liaisons hosted more than 70 sex assault nurse examiners, which they're named the SANES, at a meet and greet at Public Safety Headquarters to continue building relationships between hospital staff and law enforcement to strengthen processes and support of trauma-informed response and furtherance of justice for sex assault survivors. Another convening is scheduled for 2025. CPD also works to ensure victims are familiar with the Sexual Assault Incident Notice, which provides victims with information relative to obtaining medical services, evidence testing, and orders of protection. The notice also fulfills the Illinois Sexual Assault Incident Procedures Act mandated requirements for law enforcement officers to advise victims of their rights under the law and to provide victims with information for at least one accessible service agency. The City of Chicago's toll-free confidential 24-hour Chicago Rape Crisis Hotline, 1-888-293-2080, is available for assisting victims of sexual assault. Sexual assault crisis intervention trained operators will facilitate connecting victims of sexual violence with immediate support, crisis intervention, and referrals for victim services. And then additionally, the Bureau of Detectives continue to regularly review domestic violence cases and trends with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office and partners, leveraging data from a newly created internal CPD dashboard to triage cases, identify when patterns are escalating between victims and offenders, and efficiently coordinate interventions with service providers. So again, that's all from the Chief of the Bureau of Detectives, and that's not district level stuff that I deal with. So I wanted to read that to you so you're aware of what the Bureau of Detectives are doing. And I recommend, because this is such an important topic right now, that with the counselors, perhaps with the CCPSA and the Bureau of Detectives, maybe getting some information sharing going and some information put out to the citizens.
All right, next question we have. How many officers are assigned to tactical teams in the 14th District? Where are these teams deployed, and what criteria determine their placement?
So as I've said before, police personnel strength is never disseminated publicly due to officer safety. I will reference this special order 030307, which is entitled District Level Investigative Teams, that is informally called our TAC teams. So teams are deployed in accordance with current crime trends, patterns, but this order covers what the general information about them and duties and responsibilities. So I'm going to give a copy of this to the counselors, but this also is available publicly as well.
All right, I think this was directed to the both of you. Yep. What is the relationship between the 14th District and Area 5, and how does the 14th District coordinate with Area 5 leadership?
So the relationship's great. The district commander has my number. She can call me anytime, day or night. Depending on what's going on, depends on what resources, additional resources that I have as the Area 5 Deputy Chief, I'll send her way. She can then turn around and her watch operations lieutenant or her field lieutenant can then redeploy those resources where they need them. Let's say we have issues with gang conflicts. I need an additional 10 bodies. Okay, I'll send her 5 additional squads with a sergeant. That sergeant will report directly to either her or whoever the commander or, the lieutenant is in charge for that particular watch, or the TAC lieutenant, and they'll redeploy those resources where they need them. We come up with different things in regards to the Office of Community Policing. Again, we have direct contact with the Detective Division. Any questions that she needs answered that she's getting pushback from, she'll reach out to me and then I'll do the pushing on my end.
So yeah, and day to day from the district level, day to day, the lieutenants in the 14th District communicate with the area-wide teams. We communicate with the surrounding districts as well. It's just a day-to-day thing that we do. We share information, we share intelligence, we share resources when needed. We definitely work together very well. And being that I've had a lot of positions within this department, I do think that this area functions very well together and we do help each other out quite a bit. And yes, I do have his number and I do call him at all hours, so I apologize publicly for that.
Okay, next question is, what is the regular cadence for the 14th District Commander to meet with the community?
Regular cadence is tough because there's so many formal engagements, with aldermen, with beat meetings, with the DAC, the District Advisory Council, as well as informal meetings, phone calls. We do all of that. Now, if the question is, what's the cadence for meeting with the District Council? As the council members know, we're waiting on the mayor to approve GO 111, which will lay out all the expectations, kind of what I referred to earlier, the expectations of district level with the district councilors, and that order will also lay out information that can be shared. So basically, if it can't be found publicly, the district council can work with their staff to send formal requests through CCPSA. All that will be outlined within this order. And again, as of earlier today, we're waiting for the mayor to sign off on it. So again, these are where the CCPSA and the CPD are working together to form some sort of expectations that everybody can adhere to. And in my case, as we know, last year, for many months, police were not welcome at the district council meetings, and then they were, and then we did one, and then there's been some internal turmoil. I was waiting for that to kind of die down. So, we'll see going forward what kind of cadence we can work on.
Okay, down to 3 more questions here before we get to the real good ones. All right, so the first question I have on this second sheet is addressing racial disparities and over-policing. Preliminary 2024 traffic stops data shows that Black and Latino drivers continue to be disproportionately stopped and searched in the districts under Area 5's jurisdiction. What steps is Area 5 taking to address racial disparities in its policing?
So again, this goes to the traffic stops. For one, all of the officers are, trained and they perform constitutional policing, constitutional traffic stops, not racially based. But as far as traffic stops, anything further than that, because of the ongoing litigation and ongoing discussions, I'm not at liberty to talk about it publicly.
Okay. Next one is regarding accountability and police reform. We are advocating for CPD to develop a traffic stops policy that will shift CPD away from using pretextual traffic stops to fish for crime and towards focusing on actual road and community safety. What barriers do you see in implementing a policy like that formally limits stops for low-level offenses and ends suspicionless consent searches?
Again, I will defer to the topic being part of litigation, as well as that's the discussions going on, from my understanding, between CCPSA and CPD to create a new traffic stop policy. So, I'm not part of those discussions. District level, we're not part of those discussions. So, again, I will defer for future guests.
All right, and the final one here is a call to action, asking for Commander and the Deputy Chief both, will you commit to giving a public statement during CCPSA's next listening session on March 19th or March 27th, supporting an end to pretextual traffic stops and limiting stops for low-level violations that would allow CPD to address 911 calls and more urgent public safety harms?
Again, we are district level. We would have to defer to our department, to our superintendent, to allow us to say anything on the topic. So again, that's something that we can bring back. The deputy chief can bring up our chain, and we'll see what where that discussion leads within our department.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to open it up to. Yeah.
So I also had a question regarding, does the 14th district get notifications when ICE is in the district? And what protocols does the 14th district have when contacted by ICE? And I know this is a very important topic right now. So again, we have a special order 061403 responding to incidents involving citizenship status. So if a department member receives a request from an immigration agency to provide assistance with a civil immigration enforcement operation, a supervisor from the district of occurrence, a lieutenant, and the street deputy, who would be the same rank as the deputy chief here or even above, will respond to the scene. We will not assist in the enforcement of civil immigration law. The Chicago Police Department does not enforce that. Department members will not threaten to deport or verbally abuse someone because of their immigration status. We will not assist with enforcing immigration law unless taking police action because of an immediate public safety concern or a violation of the Illinois Code or MCC is occurring. We will not stop, arrest, or detain someone based solely on immigration status, including based on an immigration warrant or detainer. Department members will not allow ICE access to a person in department custody, including by telephone or to use department facilities to conduct an immigration enforcement interview or investigation. Department members will not advise ICE of somebody's custody status, release date, or contact information. We will not transfer someone to ICE custody for the sole purpose of immigration enforcement. We will not request or share someone's citizenship or immigration status unless that person authorizes in writing to share, or you are required to do so by law, court order, or a lawfully issued judicial warrant. We will not set up a traffic perimeter or provide on-site support to assist immigration enforcement unless there is an immediate public safety concern.
All right, so we're going to move on to the live Q&A. We're going to ask that we maintain order here and some decorum as well. One person at a time. And please, when you do get up and ask a question, if you could, for the record, state your name and address which participant you would like to have answer said question. Do we have any live Q&A questions? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Melanie Sandusky. question is along the lines of prevention. Everything so far, and I understand the difficulty in terms of the DNA evidence and the delays, I understand. But what are we doing in terms of preventing further incidents so that, people know how to act optimally? Obviously, it's not constitution. But training can prevent a lot of problems. Is there anything going on?
Yes, that's a great question. So the question was, what are we doing to prevent? You're referring to the sex assaults.
Right.
We could say sex assaults or any, assaults. So the question was, what are we doing to prevent them? Is there anything out there that can help? So one thing first is talking about it, the simple safety measures that, if we walk in groups, alerting people, your loved ones, where you are, or when you're coming home at certain hours. There's things like that you could do, but I know at the BEAT meeting, the alderperson and that they were talking about getting together self-defense classes, as well as other outside resources to teach other safety issues like that. So from the department, from our perspective, our community policing office has been putting flyers out in businesses within the district that give you tips and clues on how to be safe. And it can be something like be looking around, be aware of your surroundings. What we're doing to help prevent it is we're out there. We have more officers. The deputy chief has given me more officers to have out there. Again, they may be in uniform, you may not even know they're officers, but there are people out there. Another thing that was brought up at the B meeting was with ring cameras. If you have those sorts of cameras, the detective suggested that you set it up so it catches a wider viewing area, because that helps if there is an assault that occurs within that area, it might catch the person even just walking through your view. So there's some tips and clues. There's flyers that I am going to have the CAPS office send to you guys. They'll put it out on your page. You could always go to the 14th district page as well on social media, and there's flyers on there as well.
Okay. Next question, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, hi there. I just corresponding with using the district council funds to get access to personal safety supplies like I know that there's still a couple of classes tonight, and I was wondering if they have them in July.
That's more of a CCPSA question, and I'm free to answer that when we get back into our agenda. We're going to utilize the time that we have currently for the deputy chief and the commander, if possible. Yes, Bayon.
So I have a question about Milwaukee specifically. Every month on the NFLP website, the police retirees are announced. And so it's not a secret when someone announces, but there's a lot of ambiguity around whether or not Milwaukee, who admitted himself to being the Oath Keepers, retired or not. So we need to know, is he still on the force or did he retire?
As far as I know, we put retirement papers in, but again, we don't have any information and can't speak specifically to a matter like that.
Yes.
So I have two questions, if I can, for you. The first, I am a resident of the 17th district, and we share a border with 14, but that's not all we have in common. So we also have an officer who has been on the Keeper roster. And my question for you is, I know you said that you don't get to the jury or who you don't work with, but I think you do have say in like where officers are going within your district. Or you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm wondering, do you think it would be appropriate to assign an officer who's on the Keeper roster to attend your district council meetings here in 14? Is that something you would do?
So, as far as the assignment, it's all based on contract. It's a bidding process, and it's guaranteed through their unions. As far as having that individual attend a community council meeting, absolutely not. Okay? And the reason I say that is, we're here to communicate, have conversation. Why bring something in that's going to agitate and turn a good conversation into a negative one, correct? So that's why we wouldn't have that officer here. You know, the unfortunate part is that they exist throughout the United States of America in every organization. There might be some folks sitting here that belong to different organizations that we may not all agree with. However, it is what it is. The department and the city are doing a great job of weeding these folks out. The unfortunate part is they're guaranteed the same Fourth Amendment rights as everybody sitting in this room to privacy. Therefore, it's not a criminal act, so they can't put out that type of information. And I understand the frustration, myself included. I'm Puerto Rican. Would I want somebody coming up to me that has a bias against me? No, but unfortunately, everybody in this room has a bias. All of us do. Whether it's the food you eat, whether it's what you don't like, whether it's a particular dog, whether it's a cat, whether it's a mouse, whatever the case may be, that is still a bias, right? I don't like it because it's a cat. Well, why don't you like it? Just because it's a cat. It's a bias. I have a bias against cats. I get it. Everybody tries to say, well, it's a human thing. It's a human, unfortunately, a human reaction, okay? But to your question, no, I would not have that person at the meetings.
Okay, I appreciate your response, and I bring it up because in the 17th district, that is who was assigned to attend our meetings. And I'm wondering if I can ask one more question, just jumping subjects.
Well, I will correct that. I will speak to the commander and we'll correct that. Okay?
Well, he hasn't been coming since the community requested him, but thank you, I appreciate that response. And then my second question is, I don't know if you've heard of Citizens Police Data Project, but it's an online website that looks at complete histories of CPD officers. And so I found that over a 5-year period, there were 113 complaints of domestic violence made against CPD officers within the 14th district here. And, you know, I myself was sexually harassed by CPD when I was a teenager. There were some very disturbing things said to me. And I didn't report that when but I guess I'm just wondering, given we know that there is an unfortunate history of sexual abuse or violence against women that has been carried out over the years by CPD at different times in history, and I'm just wondering why the community or someone who's had my experience, why should I trust in how you guys are handling these cases? And this is not meant to be controversial, I'm giving you an opportunity to let me know.
Well, as far as the trust is always something that's gained, right? So what we need to do is see how it plays out. Those cases you're talking about, each one of those individuals have more than likely been stripped. They're sitting at callback. If not, they've been terminated since. Okay? That trust has to be built again. We're not sitting here saying everybody trusts everybody. We have the same issues as police officers. A lot of us do our job 100% the right way, but we get chastised, we get pretty much put into the same barrel with that bad apple. It becomes difficult, but we have to let that process. You have to trust us that when we say we're going to take care of it, we do it. But also on your part, maybe a little follow-up as well to then say, hey, Will, now I'm going to hold you accountable because I'm looking and this wasn't done, right? So this way I can give you an answer. Or I can follow up and say, hey, you know what, you're right. I forgot to follow up with it, but now it's on my forefront of my head. I'm going to go ahead and take care of it, call you back within an hour and give you an answer. That's the biggest part of what we need here. Or that I accepted it. And I'm not saying that you did wrong by that. Those were back in those days. I get that. I get that whole thing. But what I'm saying is we need to be made aware of it. What I don't know, I can't fix. What I know, I can fix. I can correct. I can prevent. Okay?
And I just want to point out some domestic violence allegations against officers we never even know about because it gets handled through our Bureau of Internal Affairs. You know, we don't know about it as it's going on, so we really don't have anything to do with that investigation because our Bureau of Internal Affairs handles cases like that.
Nicolas Hernandez. I have a question. When it comes to the situation with Oath Keepers and the police department, how can we, in our undocumented community, cooperate, report things, such as, for example, if we're a witness to a crime, why would we put ourselves in harm's danger by cooperating with police when there are Oath Keepers? What if our paperwork lands on the wrong desk? Also, this was just a report from Injustice Watch. Out of 110 new visa applications, 57 were denied. So why would folks that are undocumented speak up as a witness, report a crime, when there are past actions where we unfortunately are not able to get that trust from the police because we're looking at past actions? I understand we all have biases. Yeah, cool, that's fine, but some biases are fine. But when my life's on the line because someone has a badge and a gun, please understand, there's a big difference there too. And I also would appreciate when people go to the 14th precinct as victims, that they get some customer service. To tell folks like, hey, you should have followed up, or hey, you should have, it's not really up to us when we're traumatized, taking time out of our day, re-traumatizing ourselves by explaining the situation, being 4 hours in the police department, being 2 hours in the police department, just to get some justice. But back to my community, how can the undocumented community come out of the shadows and cooperate with the police department? We need our U visas, our pathway towards citizenship. We will cooperate with you guys if you don't cooperate with us.
As far as the U visas, that's an immigration thing that's got nothing to do with the police. What you're saying basically is that they don't trust the police to come forward and report a crime, correct?
Undocumented folks don't want to report to the police department because when we do, and we're supposed to be given a U visa application by the police, they don't follow up. And you just mentioned that that's still not part of the CPD.
We don't give you visa applications. As the 10th District Commander, I had 26th Street, a pretty large Latino community, and they would come in and report crimes all the time. We had no issues with them. As far as the U visas and things like that, those are done through attorneys' offices. CPD does not hand out U visa applications. That again is an immigration thing. But again, my community was undocumented, documented, African American, and we had no issues with them coming in to report crimes.
Can I share after this meeting the article from
I'll-
Justice Watch?
Sure.
Thank you.
Then let it agree.
Hi, I'm Miss Stacy, if that's okay. My name is Olivia. I live in the 14th District, 821. I attended the meeting last week. My question is either for the commander or the deputy chief. It was mentioned repeatedly over and over again that this meeting is for district level issues, community policing, our community. So I was disappointed when there's no Area 5 detectives here. So no one here is actively investigating these sexual assault cases. No one here. Was anyone invited? Did anyone invite the detectives to come to this meeting? These are crimes that are being committed at the district level. And you're deferring to Area 5 detectives, and they're not here. Like, what's up? Were they invited?
Again, these are the guidelines, the district council and the district commander. I come to these meetings. The detective division is not involved with the district council.
But the
Now, that's why we
crimes
had.
being committed at the district
Okay,
level.
well, and that's something that if we worked out prior that we wanted detectives here, but see, it's a large department that we need to give plenty of time for people to come. That's why we had this special beat meeting, that's why we had the outdoor roll call. And we continue to have special meetings where they are in attendance, but that's not necessarily what this meeting was for.
Can you answer my question if they were invited?
No, because that's not what this meeting was for.
It seems like the community wants to hear.
Well, in knowing that, I think now if that can be relayed to us, then we can make that happen for the next meeting, but we have to communicate that. That was not communicated to me that you want
I
to
think it was
text.
communicated by the number of people that attended the meeting last week.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, actually, you as well know that the purpose of this is not to bring detectives. Yes, Glenn. Hi, Director.
Hi, my name is Director Glenn Brooks. I'm with the Chicago Police Department. Just for clarification, this is not a police meeting. This is the district council's meeting. Additionally, you'll have, and I believe you have the detectives at the beat meetings. And Yeah, and we'll continue to make them, right? I understand, but we'll continue to have detectives available there.
Okay, there was a line on the flyer for this event, for this meeting, to discuss the sexual assault, like the number of incidents, but there's no one here to discuss them.
Yeah, I think there needs to be better communication and better planning than by the district council, if that's what they want. They can reach out to the department and request whoever they want to attend.
Okay, do you have a response to that? This is my question to you, the commander.
Well, we collected questions from community, and of course, we knew that the sexual assaults were top priority, and these questions were given to the commander. She was to give them to her data person and distribute it amongst CPD in her department. So if she wanted to, she could have invited detectives, knowing the pre-submitted questions that we sent.
Yeah, but
And
the
also
Yes, but the process is that I give it to the CCPSA liaison. I don't farm it out to everybody within the department. So again, that's why we need these processes in place and going forward, following the processes that the CCPSA has put in place for submitting public questions.
Thank you.
One moment. I had the young lady in the back. Oh, okay. Mr. Beguina.
The district council could invite the chief of detectives to come and talk to a meeting. I spoke to her, she will, when you just have to invite her.
Can you repeat that line for you?
Okay?
Tell you what, if we could put a pause on that one, I want to maximize the time that we have with our guest here.
I remember that the stuff I had to say.
We're going to get to it when we get back into the agenda. But if you could hold that, put a pin in that for us, please. Do you have any other Q&A questions? Ms. Heyman?
Hi, I'm Sally Hayman. Nowacki, who's an oath keeper on the oath keeper list, is a sergeant. So that, I'm assuming that means he's in charge of other people in the 14th district. I'd like to know if that's correct. And if you know he's an oath keeper, why are you putting him in charge of other officers in the 14th district? And also, second part, you all said that if people had sexual assaults, they would be handled by the BIA, Bureau of Internal Affairs.
Domestic violence.
That's it.
Domestic violence?
Yeah.
Yes.
I know the oath keepers were, there were 8 of them at the time that had a BIA investigation, and they had, what, a 15-minute maximum discussion with the BIA. 15 minutes. Nowacki admitted he had 300 emails from the oath keepers. None of those were opened or looked at or discussed in that BIA investigation. What kind of an investigation is that? 15 minutes? Oh, he's okay. And he's a sergeant in charge of other police officers in the 14th district. How can we trust that the BIA is going to fairly judge any police officer? Everything I've seen says they're going to say, no problem, pass, pass, pass. Why should I have any confidence in the BIA's ability to judge police misconduct?
And again, that's something that the district counselors can That's something that the district counselors can address through the CCPSA to CPD because that's nothing to do at the district level. We have nothing to do with the BIA.
But he's in your district.
And also, I think that when these concerns are brought to the commander and to the deputy chief, I think that the way that you can take these concerns is by when you do meet with your higher ups to bring these concerns to them, to the adequate people, and that's how you can take Sally's complaint. Don't pass it on to the district council only. Everybody here has a stake in this.
Yeah,
There's more we can do.
last time when this was brought up, I brought it up to BIA and they said that was investigated. So, I mean, I can bring it up again. I will definitely bring it up again.
Saw a hand up over here. This could be our last one, then we're going to have to thank our guests for attending.
Yeah, just a couple things. I don't want to leave with the gentleman who was talking about the visa certification, which is what I think he was talking about in terms of those law enforcement certifications in order to do a visa application are needed, and that percentage is all not necessarily where it needs to be. That's one thing. The other thing I want to get some clarity on, and you mentioned that you have flyers that had tips and information, and that we could go to, if I understood you correctly, go to 14th District social media to try to find these. Is that what I understood?
To find what?
Like flyers that have tips and clues?
Yes. So CAPS, 14th District CAPS office, you could go to their website. Do you have that off the top of your head?
The 14th district, it's Chicago Police Department.org, 14th district, and it's under community policing. The other thing that you actually can do, and we would share with the district council, are those tips. I believe you guys published them on social media, both of our Twitter and your Facebook page, I believe. So they've been publishing them. And you're absolutely right, the department is responsible, but that is not the 14th district, that is records. It's responsible for the U-Visa certification. And it's, we recently retrained everyone in the U-Visa section and records to provide the necessary document when it's applicable.
We also went to the older person's offices and gave them a bunch of flyers as well. And we'll continue to keep their supply updated.
Okay, thank you. And in what languages are those flyers?
Several. I mean, I know for sure we focus on English and Spanish here, but the department has things in, I don't know how many.
So we service all 5 major languages, and then we can request additional languages. So whether it be simple Cantonese, whether it be Arabic, whether Polish, and I'm forgetting what I'm saying. There's one other main language that we service it. But if these flyers are needed, let the office know. We'll ensure that all those any languages will have them translated and such.
Okay, this is going to be our last one.
I'm also going to stay seated, if that's all right. My question, I understand that the detectives are not here and they can't speak to any part of the current investigation, but I do want to reference a statement that was made last week by the loved one of the victims, and specifically in response to the responding officers when these incidents are reported. The question that was asked in the statement is, how is it possible that when a woman is victim to a home invasion, violent physical assault, and subsequent horrific sexual assault, despite having visible injuries and signs of struggle, had the report mistakenly filed as date rape? And is there a single good reason why the responding officers we later confirmed arrived at the scene less than 10 minutes after the assailant left, didn't so much as enter the level of the home where the assault happened, never saw the crime scene, never searched for or collected evidence, and instructed the outcry witness to re-enter the level of the home where the assault took place unaccompanied with no confirmation the attacker was gone and contaminate said scene? My question is, how is that possible with any kind of training that something was mishandled so incredibly? And what is being done to rectify that so that these things don't happen in the future?
If a complaint was made, it's for sure being investigated.
I understand that. It was not filed correctly, and then it was not followed up on.
Right, and we cannot speak to specific cases.
I understand that. I'm speaking about how is that possible that that training was not there, that something could be mishandled so.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to that. I don't know who's involved, when this
what
occurs.
training exists in response to crisis situations of violent crime? How is it possible that there's a more protocol and there aren't more standards in place to make sure that this kind of mismanagement doesn't happen?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that the department is probably looking at in light of that complaint. I don't know what else can I say?
All right, that being said, you're more than welcome. to
I think
stick
that
around.
says more than enough.
Because I think that some of the public comments may want to.
Just one more.
I had taken some of those
But one thing I'll say is that the main priority of the officers of the 14th District is the safety and security of the community. And I will say that even after being lambasted and accused of not caring and not doing anything at the last meeting, they are still out there following every lead and out there protecting the community, searching for justice for those victims and for the community as a whole. And I cannot be more proud to stand with them because of their dedication to the nobility of this profession to protect and serve all communities. So I cannot be more proud of all the work that the officers are doing. And I'm sorry you had a bad experience.
Give a round of applause to our guests.
Biases are biases, but there's a difference between a bias that you may not feel the same about everybody versus something that may harm the people, whether it's an officer who acts improperly or even worse, sexually assaults, or saying, well, goalkeepers, there's a bias. Hell yeah, there's a bias. There's a bias, and people are afraid for their life. We want to trust and, as the commander said, we want people to be safe, and our officers are doing the best job, and I'm proud of them. But when we name things, it doesn't come across that you're hearing us when, 30 seconds later, those are the responses. When people have really painful, like they say, traumatizing life events.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Not just compassion, but
Why are you on the defensive? People are asking for help.
And that's what we're here to try and provide, but we have to work together. And I'm sorry you guys don't like all the answers that I'm giving.
Websites with information, I don't think that's appropriate. Deputy Chief Edwards, I want to make your title right. I don't think it's appropriate to equate the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers with not liking cats and dogs. I would really encourage you, please let me finish.
Sure.
Encourage you to take a hard look at what bias and prejudice means, especially in the context of public service.
Absolutely.
Serve and protect, I think, is your mantra. The last time I saw a CPT
Absolutely.
car drive by, so please.
But again, like I said, that was just an example. I'm just saying, it's a bad example, I get it. People don't like it, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, that individual is being dealt with, okay? The problem is that that's not the answer you want to hear. I can't give you, hold on. I gave you your few minutes, let me finish mine, okay? And I appreciate what you're bringing up 100%. I'm not disregarding what you're saying. Okay, but what I am saying is that those individuals are being dealt with. I can't give you any more than that. I wish I could, because I think that would help out a lot, but I can't. Because again, Fourth Amendment guarantees every American citizen, regardless of what they think or feel or believe, that right. Now, if you want to sit here and throw that around, hey, I get it, but I'm not going to be that guy, okay? I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate what you're saying. I wish I could give you more, but I can't. Okay?
Deputy Chief, Commander, thank you very much for your time this evening. Stay safe out there.
I want to take private questions.
All right. We're going to resume our agenda.
public and speak to these people and speak to their experiences, and to be constantly met with combative responses and people who are defensive and just care about defending their role and not hearing these people and their pain, it's a joke. This is a joke. Walking out on victims?
Okay, as mentioned, we're going to resume our agenda, and we're going to open it up to public comment. We're going to maintain decorum. We're going to give each speaker 2 minutes each. We're going to go no more than 20 minutes on this. Do we have any public comment? Gentleman right here.
I'm sorry that they didn't hear you in this system. Some of the things that occurred when I went to the police station as a victim, I get the same type of response, a defensive response of, why didn't you come sooner? Or if I was in your shoes, I would have called Kim. Like, don't put yourself in my shoes. Police officers, I don't know why they get defensive when you give them criticism. Hey, I'm a victim of actual crime. I'm a gunshot survivor. And when I go to the police and I get a dismissive response of, well, you don't know what it is to be in our shoes. Yeah, I'm not in your shoes. I don't have a badge. I don't have a bulletproof vest. I don't have a gun at my hip. And I'm out there providing first aid to fellow Chicagoans. And when I go to report it to the police and they leave my name out of the police report, I then got to go to the Attorney General's office, wait 9 months, go back to the police department, and re-traumatize myself by explaining to the person at the front desk my situation. Now, should I report that to COPA? If Ms. Lima just did that to her, to them. Like, they just dismissed us. Like, why are we speaking up when, at this point, I guess the top person just dismissed the whole room? Like, why am I going to go and re-traumatize myself?
What's your say with that person responding to us?
I was at the police station for 4 hours to report a crime. And I was at the police station for 2 hours, and I was left that a reporter was with me. It's only until the person said they were a reporter that the police department decided to help me. What's this attitude of dismissing us? I understand it's a tough job, but hey, you're getting paid. You chose the job.
It's your job.
But please, I guess, escalate to whoever needs to escalate. Go to COPA, have VIA call me and find nothing wrong. But don't dismiss people like this.
Thank you for your comments. Young lady here.
I don't want to take too much time. You can see when I did the 20th District State Senate office who represents this area. Just want you to know, hey, that your state senator has the time inquiry with the Illinois State Police over delays, like the criminal delays in Colorado. I take it. I'm going to leave a stack of my cards. Our office is a resource. We're open to you at any time, so please feel free to reach out. We will hear you, okay? We will not walk out on you. So here's your card. I'll leave it up to that.
A town hall is a propaganda session. It's a load of bullshit. And so I encourage everyone here to keep fighting to hold the police accountable. Keep coming to these meetings and force them to give us answers. Keep pressuring them and because they're going to have to come back and face the community again, and we have to make them do it. And so we have to keep coming back. And I stand with the sexual assault victims, and we're going to keep fighting. In this meeting, I pledge to, and hopefully my neighbors do, and get justice for them.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria Rosalia. I am the 8th District Commissioner for the Commission on Women's Issues. I represent Commissioner Quesada's district. We are going to be having a women's roundtable on March 15th. It's the same day as the self-defense class and Cause Park. We welcome women to come out and talk about what are the things that we can do. Part of the women's condition, really there is an opportunity to think about what kind of policy changes there needs to be, and we can come together and think about that in partnership, how we want to collaborate, how we want to hold folks accountable, and what can we actually put into policy and law that will actually impact and support our families. So I have some flyers here, I will share them with you all. Feel free to take them. If you can't attend or want to stay
quick point of information, none of the other meetings were a town hall meeting regarding the sexual assaults. The first roll call meeting, they did not want to take questions for us. In fact, when I spoke up and I clarified as a second victim that talked to them, I was publicly belittled by CPD and forced to cry in front of them. The second meeting was a beat meeting that we as survivors organized, and then they continued to tell us, this is not the place for this conversation. So I reject that notion of we weren't told, we weren't informed. Multiple times we've asked for them to meet with us regarding these issues, and they have repeatedly told us this is not the place, this is not the place. They give answers around policies that should be happening. Again, there is a group of at least 7 of us. None of those policies are being followed. I have never had an advocate. I have never been given the sexual assault information. Our detectives do not call us. There is one detective who calls us. He is not assigned to any of our cases besides one. But he is somehow taking on all the responsibility. So I just want people to be held accountable because they keep dismissing us. They keep saying it's one case, it's this case, it's your specific instance. It is not. We are a small group, but there are 7 people consistently saying the same thing. This is a systemic issue and they're not listening to us. Their trainings are not being followed. They are not giving out the resources that they are supposed to be given. And they're not giving us the forum to provide that information to them because they keep saying this is not the proper space to say that. Where is the proper space if it's not here? I just don't understand it. I don't live in this area. I was sexually assaulted while working. I am giving up time to come into this area, into the neighborhood I was sexually assaulted in. It's traumatizing. I am fucking pissed off and I'm tired of doing this. I have a life I want to resume and they're not giving me that.
Do we have any other public comment?
Anna, do you have an answer for that?
I don't have an answer. I was looking into it. I will relay your reasons to it and maybe reasons to it. I do have a suspicion. I have to guess. Let's see if I can say what their protective device. So safety is suicide. But the pepper spray. I will not allow it. I was going to say that.
I have a response from
Thank you for your input. Do we have any other public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Is it within the jurisdiction of your council to call for a town hall meeting specifically pertaining to the sexual assaults that have happened in the Logan Square area in the past few years?
We can always hold a council, and I usually don't respond directly to public comments, but I can say that we can set up a town hall. It's just who do you want there and what's their availability. That's kind of our limitation when it comes to that.
We should talk.
Thank you for your comment.
Yeah, I've only started coming to these very recently, and I'm really surprised that like they'll say, "Oh, I didn't know that's what people wanted." You know, like how did you not know? You know, given the set of questions that we have, how did you not know that we wanted to see a detective here today? Why are people looking around and be like, "Oh, we're supposed to find that person"? Like, why? How is it not know what people are wanting from you, and why is there? And these are questions, these are just no comments. It's really, really surprising that everyone's kind of playing the hot potato game when it's really, really obvious what people are wanting to see. So I think that this serves as the last warning in terms of the information that people want to hear about, in terms of the people that people want to participate in here, in terms of the types of questions that are anticipated and should have answered by the time the next meeting rolls around. I mean, I don't know. I've only been here a couple times and I already feel this way.
Thank you for your comments. All the way in the back. I can.
Okay. The recent calls for the sanctioning and removal of the 14th District Council of Oral raise serious questions. There are questions about the due diligence applied to the situation, and there are questions about the context and context of the claims being offered in opposition to the 14th District Council. I understand that people have had strong feelings and strong reactions and strong experiences in their encounters with 14th District Councilors. At the same time, I think that the non-transparency and unfairness of how this process is unfolded makes people seeking to address conflict and harm more vulnerable. And I think that the way these processes have unfolded makes addressing, I think that it undermines accountability and transparency. When I've spoken to multiple district councilors and when I've attempted to speak with CCPSA staff and others, when folks have been willing to speak, they've repeatedly said that there have been claims of patriarchy and racism and xenophobia, queer antagonism, and other things, but there has been no substantial articulation of what the substantive disagreements or grievances have been. I think that what's unfolded in too many ways mirrors the deficiencies of CPD's investigations into the Oath Keepers. There has not been a reasonable analysis of what has happened, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think that after this meeting, the communication channels that were open will collapse, and nobody will want to talk about this anymore. There has been
Okay.
Thank you for your comments.
I
Young lady, wait.
have one more question. I'm new in this, and I'm very used to this. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I wanted to say that the time I see here, coming information about the situation, everyone is upset, and everyone looking more and more about what was been done by this district. They are sidestepping questions, making it seem like they just do not care, or they don't have any of these people that are victims. There have been two that's put out today, they were both brought down, the same ridiculous, we're not being heard, and that means that the people will bring together in order to make this even more order. This is really something that shows what's yet to come, that there will be more people in this cause, that once we get a meeting out there to either hold these detectives accountable, to hold the public in general, that they will see that people are angry, and we have no other recourse but to scream it and to say it out loud that we are tired of this. There's no accountability, and we just saw it right now in Chicago. What the hell?
My question is related to the gentleman's statement, because I'm finding, I'm very used to here, I was a federal employee for 20 years. And what I'm hearing is everybody has their turf, which is common in government, and there's not an overreaching integration of these services
comments. As I mentioned, we don't address public comments directly.
We were elected, and 2 years ago, we had another election for the district. We're not employees of the city of CPs.
Are you volunteers or?
We're paid $500 a month. $500 a month.
We get a stipend.
I'm sorry.
We get paid in a stipend, a monthly stipend.
But where's the money coming from? What's the stream?
CP's budget.
The Chicago Police?
No, it's not the CP's budget, but it's tied to a percent of their a minimum funding for the CCPSA department, which includes us, is tied to a percentage of CP's budget. But that is not. We're not paid the CP's budget. We're paid by the city as vendors, as if we were selling shares to the city. A stipend of $500 a month.
I would suggest or request that an organizational chart be provided at meetings on a routine basis so that movies like me can figure out who's who. Names are great, but this is the chain of command that they report to, and you know, direct line things and the associated links. That would really be helpful in terms of understanding. It's a very confusing part.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, we're going to close out public comment, and we'll get up into to our updates. Well, actually, we've got meeting minutes from February 1, 2025 up for review and possibly to vote on. I haven't had time to review them completely. If we have a motion to postpone the vote to next month.
I would agree to postponing the minutes from last month, but the only two corrections right now would be the name Gabe to Gabe, and then for my comment, capitalize the word black. This part, black and brown, just capitalize.
I'd second the motion to.
Any objections? We will go ahead and postpone the vote of the February meeting minutes till next month when they must be voted upon. All right, moving forward, any updates? Councilor Rosenthal, do you have any updates?
Yes. First, responding directly to discussion questions itself. As one of the constituents mentioned, yes, the alders, they work with the alders to set up the self-defense training that is full for March 15th. The 14th District Council has a yearly budget of approximately $5,000. We do not actually control that directly, but we can make requests against those $5,000. We are willing to make requests to hold further self-defense trainings if that is what the community would like. So there's one that is already full if you haven't signed up for it, but if you want another one, we're willing to help pay for that. However, it is also my understanding that there's no current city vendors who provide self-defense trainings, but that just means that they need to fill out a form in order to get paid. So if that's something that you would like to see more of, we can tap into some of those funds to help provide additional trainings. To answer the question, yes, the denial that I received for the pepper spray gel request said that no weapons would be approved, items for fighting. So, I didn't request any brass knuckles or anything, but based on that reply, it seems that the city, at some level, is interpreting pepper spray as a type of weapon that they're not wanting to include. We are able to get with current vendors loud safety whistles and/or personal alarms. So just attention-seeking devices. So if you are interested, we can make an order for safety whistles and/or personal alarms for keychains. And then personally, I'm willing to help contribute to the purchase of pepper spray if cost is prohibitive for anyone that would like that. That's the first one. The second one is there's some papers on the table about know your rights in relation to migrants. That's it for that. Next, about youth visas. I spoke to the commander as she was leaving to ask if she would honor the commitment of the previous commander, which is to help follow up on any applicants in the district. So that goes to CPD Central Records as far as the process to get the application for a federal U visa. But the process can take years and needs to happen a lot faster and have better approval. I spoke to someone yesterday who's been waiting for over a year just for an appointment to get fingerprint checked. So I'm hopeful that in the future the commander will be able to help expedite requests to CPD Central Records Division. A couple other things. There's an update on traffic stops, but I'm not going to give it full justice because there's a different focus to this meeting. But there are flyers that you can find also out there. The CCPSA has recently begun working on a traffic stop policy where they're asking CPD to take the first step in drafting the policy. I disagree with that approach because the community has already given them a clear mandate on a policy to end contextual traffic stops, including a majority of district councilors made it a commission priority for 2025. Not to look into the issue, but to pass the policy that ends contextual traffic stops. They have yet to respond to the priorities that were given to them by the duly elected district councilors, and we're still waiting on that response. But you can, again, use the flyer to follow up. They did speak at the last CCPSA meeting, and I won't read all of this, but very quickly, they were going into the consent decree, and then now we're trying to come back out of it and just decide on it with CPD. The reason for that is that the Attorney General is committed to ending pretextual traffic stops with the right policy, and the Commission is trying to maintain control in their own and CPD's hands. But what they've said about the process, bullet points, it says, the process we have agreed to with CPD says that public engagement will continue to be a central part of the Commission's work. The Commission will continue to provide regular updates and get input at the Commission's public meetings. The Commission will continue to get input on traffic stop policy on the Commission's website. The Commission will organize or participate in meetings with people and organizations that are interested in traffic stops policy, and the Commission will gather their input. When there is a policy ready for review, the Commission will post it on its website and collect public comment. Lastly, the Commission and CPD will work to address the comments and potentially make changes to draft policies based on the feedback it receives. You can speak to me or, again, find the flyer. That's all for that, and briefly, two other things. I have a letter based on a request from Charlotta, the girlfriend of the deceased Timothy Blaze, killed in the 10th District. And I'm asking if the other councilors are interested in signing. It's calling for the 2 police officers that shot and killed Timothy Blaze 20 times to be charged, as would be normal if anybody shot someone. Whether they're found guilty or not guilty, they absolutely should be charged. So I'm wondering if anyone is willing to sign that. And lastly, I will not read this because of time and other issues, but the 8th District Council made inciting inflammatory statements that directly attack the democracy and the work that district councils are supposed to do, and it resulted in 8 crimes against the 10th District Councilor. They named her publicly. They also named me, but I have not received hate crimes or threats as a result of that. But I have another statement that's on the table condemning the dangerous incitement of the 8th District Police Council. That's all.
Councilor Vargas.
I guess my only updates would be for the new people in the room. We are a new elected body in Chicago. The Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability was born out of the La Palma Damo shooting that happened a few years ago under Rom's when he was mayor. And this just lit a fire under community. Dating back to the Black Panther era, where we need community control of police, and we need people sitting down with police and negotiating how we are policed, because it's clear that when they're challenged, they get defensive, and we just need to work on that. And I'm here to say that I stand with all the victims in the room and the survivors, and we will find accountability, and we will call for a town hall, and we will work together to demand justice. And yeah. Thank you. Oh yes, and my role in the district council is a nominator. So I was part of the 22 district councilors who nominated the 7-person commission citywide that works on city legislation regarding CPD. And that's my role in the council, and I'm also here with you to advocate on everyone's behalf for accountability. Thank you.
Okay, and real quick, and I know that the brief amount of time that I'm going to give to this doesn't give it the justice that it deserves. I think I personally owe everyone that lives in the 14th district a bit of an apology. That is because for the last 2 meetings when we had this ongoing issue on, we haven't said a word about it. We've taken care of interior household items, and for that I apologize. When I took the oath, I wanted to be a part of the solution and protect people. So I beg for your forgiveness on that. I know that I'm going to work harder to make certain that you're kept safe. That being said, I can't cure the ills of the world. What I can do is offer some guidance. And it's not a magic bullet. It's not going to clear everything up. I think every resource that we pull available to protect ourselves is a key piece of the puzzle. That being said, OEMC, who we've had at one of our meetings in the past, they have this pretty dynamic tool. It's called Smart 911, and an adjunct to that is called Smart Walk. So basically what this does is basically keeps all your stuff on file, so when you do call for service for OEMC, they know a little bit about you already. Even if you can't communicate directly with what the issue is, they know where you are, they know your house, they know if you have pets, they know if you have people that live in the house with you. That's the Smart 911 portion. I've got some flyers out on the table. I invite anybody that's interested to take one home with them. And if you can't get it, if we ran out, let me know, hit me up, and I'll make certain you get that information to you. The other aspect of OEMC, they have a Smart Walk, which is kind of an increased, enhanced version of that Smart 911, where if you have a loved one at home and you are going for a walk or you're coming home late from work, you can signify, hey, this is where I am. I'm expected to be there at this time. Should something happen to you in that en route, you can hit a button, or they can hit a button to alert emergency services to come to your location because they're picking up off of your phone. I highly recommend, especially in this increased atmosphere that we have, that everyone exercise that. As I mentioned, it's an OEMC tool, so it's not CPD. This is for fire, for ambulance, things like that as well. I cannot encourage it strong enough, and once again, I apologize to each and every one of you for my lackadaisical attitude in the past, but we're going to take this on full force. Thank you. Which part? Which part? Well, no, which part?
The apology part, I apologize.
Oh. So this is the issue, the criminal sexual assaults that's been going on here. It's not brand new, but we haven't addressed it at one of our meetings previously. And I apologize for not bringing it to the attention that it deserves sooner than I have. That's my apology.
Can I ask the status of the agenda of the meeting?
We just got discussion items, and then.
I move that we skip to the public safety portion of the discussion items. So I think a number one takeaway from us is to set up another town hall meeting where we additionally have more representatives from the detectives, I believe including a detective chief, and as well as, if possible, any individual detectives assigned to sexual assault cases. Is that accurate? And then also, there was one request about, if possible, to get state labs present, and there was some additional conversation about BIA. I'd like to get clarity because oftentimes to get something, we need to request it very specifically from the police rather than trust on them to follow up with things. So I'd like to be clear on what you would like to see in a town hall. Before maybe opening it to them, do you have any discussion around setting up a town hall in the future?
I strongly encourage it. I think the most information that you can get, and like I just said, my little diatribe there, that I think that the most tools we get in the toolbox to solve this issue, the better off we all are.
So can we solicit any components that you would see as crucial to a town hall?
Civic data. They're not coming with any civic data, they're not having it prepared. If they actually have something to speak to.
Some of them Bureau Detective.
I'm sorry, I could not hear you.
Bureau Detective representative.
Thank you.
An account of what they've done.
What was that?
An account of what they're doing on the calendar, it's all very vague. Like a timeline from 2022 till present day. Yeah.
If you want to hear really specific, you don't need to hear from the report once again. Anything more specific than that.
Sorry, can you be more specific besides?
Sorry, I mean, I just because you're asking for specifics, and you can't just trust them to understand anything. So like, they said the ring doorbell thing, and they said, watch where you're going. We're not interested in that again, you know. We're interested in more specifics than that. I know that's specifics every time, I know you know that.
Thank you.
What have they done? Concretely, what investigation has been done? Because I've been to 2 meetings now, and I've not heard one single specific thing they have done. In 3 years.
I would like information on specifically the policies that police and detectives are trained on when responding to the victims. And I don't want to hear that they all have to take a trauma-informed class, because they clearly are not trauma-informed. I want to know what they do to ensure that their detectives and their beat cops are enacting trauma-informed care, because it's not happening.
So my knowledge to like policy regarding like detectives requiring to give victims updates, there doesn't exist any in CPD. So I'm thinking that if you want, we can work together to create a victim's bill of rights, and we can pass it forward through CCPSA to advocate for new legislation in CPD, so we can give detectives and CPD a time frame of when they should be providing answers and how they're going about it, and who's assigned, and just like with specifics. So I think we can work on legislation even.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that too, but even something as simple as, I'm talking again about at least 7 victims. Every single one of us had our case initially filed incorrectly by beat cops. Every single case. They tried to tell me mine was simple battery, and I had to correct them and tell them I was assaulted. No one bothered to take my statement, right? I had to track down my detective to get them. People have been told that this was, a date rape, that you're misremembering things. We are being told to tell our stories to multiple different detectives. None of us were given the sexual assault information packet besides one person. When she came and we all met together, it's the first time any of us ever saw that. I didn't go to the hospital because there was not actual fluids passed between us, so I knew nothing would happen at the hospital. But then no one gave me any referrals from mental health services. So when they say that they have these policies, this is not happening. I'm telling you concretely, this is not happening. And so when they tell us they have these policies, we have these trainings, it's not happening. So why aren't they hearing us? Why aren't they listening? What do I need to do? Do I have to go through COPA? I have tried not to, because the individual cops have been kind to me, but no one is following protocol, and that's a top-down issue.
because it sounds like we're talking about a pretty good span of different type of items here. And I want to have value and exhaustive information on each one of these particular items. So let's go ahead and start structuring out level of importance. I think I know where my heart is, but I want to make certain that it's echo in yours. I think we need to get the sexual assault thing first and foremost.
Yes,
Would we agree on that? Okay, so that being said, we'll see if we can get your detectives.
A leadership position, as well as, if possible, any actual detective assigned to essay investigations in the 14th district.
Well, 14th district.
Oh, to any of the cases that were experienced.
Right. Okay. So somebody in leadership, a bureau of detectives, and 2 detectives minimum is what we'll require. Okay.
At the next town hall meeting, how much pressure, like, for example, should we email our alder to hold the commander accountable the way they dismissed us with their defensive response? Because if I'm getting that from the 14th precinct office, that's the person that's talking to me as a traumatized and trying to get a report from them, if they can dismiss me with, oh, hey, you're not in our shoes, or in this case, from the commander's response, hey, I'm proud, yeah, of course, hey, be proud. Great, I'm not taking that away from you. We're in the commander, not a defensive response. So I'm not sure, is that something that all 3 can commit to reach out to the commander and say, look, what you did was disrespectful and you should apologize? We would like officers to be a little bit more humble and provide customer service.
All right, so noted, thank you. So as far as town hall, so first and foremost, bureau of detectives. We want to get somebody from BIA. I think that should be a separate town hall if we're in agreement there. Can we agree to that? All right, and any other town hall items that we want to address as well?
Well, I was just wondering if we could get an agenda of the meeting beforehand. That way we know kind of what to expect out of the meeting.
Well, basically by law, we have to publish the agendas at a minimum 48 hours prior to the meeting.
Oh, okay.
That being said, like I said, if I could put something together for a town hall that's 3 months from now and have it to you tomorrow, that means I don't have to worry about it in 3 months. It's a win on my end.
Okay.
But a lot of it is making certain that we've got the proper date, that we've got the proper venue, that we've got the right.
That is completely ignored by all the other participants in the meeting and Councilors Barat and Vargas. How is the council ensuring that it is not enabling abuse as it seeks to address these very critical community issues? Because that happened on video.
I know, everybody's welcome to watch the video, please. It's February 1st. It's on our Facebook, District Council, 14th District, and you all come to your own conclusions, and you can all come and talk to me personally or public comment. But please watch the video on your own and come to your own conclusion. Thank you.
So, in closing with the town hall idea, as of right now, it's not going to be an exhaustive list. We'll get to you in just a moment, Ms. Hannon. We're looking for your detectives.
I believe, we're assuming we're also inviting the commander. I'm not sure if we need to prioritize the other area deputy if they feel that they have nothing to do with the detectives.
But
the commander as well, I'm assuming we're trying to get.
I'm trying to.
For the town hall, I think that we need to prioritize the big guns and what they want to see and get out of this. And I'm willing to work with the big guns to see who we can bring to the table. Yes, Abby?
I'm just curious, I saw in, came into this meeting, I'm sure other people did too, my name, my email, who's getting that list? And will that list go out to all of us who are here tonight who signed up with information about this next district council meeting, about the town hall meetings that we discussed? Because this has been a problem and an issue in the past with the 14th District Council. So who's responsible?
I think put their contacts in one Excel sheet. And I think that because there is such a conflict, we need to give it to CCPSA staff to work on and to send it out to the community, because there's a power struggle in the council right now, and we just need to prioritize the community and get out this information as effectively as possible. So my motion would be to give it to CCPSA staff rather than handing it to one counselor at the moment.
It's my understanding that the sign-up sheets that are out there currently were provided by our staff member, Anna Magas, and they will be going back to the office with her, where she'll maintain that email address, which will all have access.
Yeah, but the person emailing should be CCPSA staff. And we can give them what we want emailed out, but I think it should come from the DC 14 email.
I have no issue with that.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay.
All right. One other thing that I want to bring up real quick, and I apologize for not bringing it up sooner. The commander alluded to it, and somebody else had mentioned something about self-defense courses. I went to the beat meeting, the 1422 beat meeting last week, and there was a young lady there that has like a sliding scale of competency as far as self-defense courses. I'll have this up at the front for anybody that wants to scan the QR code with their phone. I'd like to keep the other one in case I run into someone else that could benefit from it as well. But feel free to take part in that as well. We've got no more votes. Next meeting. Yeah, same thing. All right. All right, sir. All right. One sec. We got one more item to take care of before we get there. All right. So next meeting, we're going to go back to the Logan Square Library, 3030 West Fullerton Avenue. That will be on Saturday, April 5, 2025 at 1 p.m. Look forward to seeing everyone there. And with that, motion to close the meeting.
Motion to close.
Second. Current time now is
So much.
7:48.